I now know what Lacey Friend sounded like and felt like when she spoke for the very first time. I have always done most of my stuff in a radio. I've always been hidden. I remember when I first started doing radio, I wore a three-piece suit to the station, and everybody treated me like I was some ritzy celebrity. And I found out that nobody could see me. After that, I wore gym trunks, flip-flops, Tommy Bahama shirts, and a hat on backwards, and I didn't care. I just had a message. So this picture that you see on here, that was taken 7 days after we launched Core 4. I knew right then my designing diet days had just come to an end. I knew I had a product line that was going to do everything for me and help me make a difference in other people's lives. And I just knew it. I felt it. And I started collecting hammers from all over the world. And so I'm going to see if I can work this thing. This how it works? Where do you go forward?
Big one on top.
Green?
Yep.
That'll work. That's where I came from. That little ranch right there, my grandparents homesteaded on that. I grew up playing cowboys and Indians with my dog. And I learned to be a very good shot. I would bring home stringers of rabbits and birds and get yelled at because they would say they're not going to have any more left here if you keep doing that, knock it off. But I grew up pretty much by myself. And that little piece of property, I used to get lost on it, and found and lost, and found and lost. And the neat thing was that you could feel the energy of it, and I was at home and content. But my parents divorced when I was 10, and it was all taken away from me. And I had to move into town, and my mother, our family, we didn't have any money. Food was plentiful, but we didn't have any money. And my mother waited tables at a truck stop at $1.25 an hour. And that's what she did to raise us. And my dad just disappeared. We were a rodeo family. And he was always riding rough stock. Now, if you know what rough stock is, that's bulls, wild horses, wild mustangs. I grew up in the saddle. I grew up riding both. When I go back home and people see me in flip-flops and Tommy Bahama shirts, they get a kick out of it. Because I was not like that. But as I started growing up, I found out that it was really tough. And so at one point in my life, I realized that I had to go to work and help my mother because we weren't living well. So I went to work. I found a friend of mine that said, the city of Lusk is hiring. Why don't you go apply for the job there? And it was mowing the cemetery lawns. I ran across more people out there. Some people don't get that for some reason. Anyway, I also went to work with the city of Lusk, and I got to ride the garbage truck. And I used to say to my mother, I'd say, "Don't touch me, I'm sterile." And I watched my mom as she struggled so hard, and I got hired at $1.50 an hour. And I did not know what to do with the money because I had never had any. I didn't know what money was about. I just knew that food was plentiful. And I never worried about it. My life was really pretty cool. It was just me and the dog. And I remember going to school, and that darn dog would come and bark outside the classroom, waiting for me to get out of school. But the first check I got was about $120, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I went into my mother's bedroom, and I took all the bills out of there, and I paid all the bills. And I was supposed to do that, right? I could not believe what I did to my mother when I did that. It blew her mind and blew mine. So, I'm going to take you for a little bit of a ride here, because most of you in here really don't know who I am. You know the morning show, and you know I have a motor mouth, and I just talk a lot, so you know where that takes me. So, if I can get this right. What part of this aren't I doing right? There we go. So by the time I was 16, 17 years old, I really didn't know what to do with myself. I really just wanted to wrestle my entire life. And all of my friends, I was the smallest kid in school. And all my cowboy buddies, I came to right here on them. And so I grew up out there shooting, and I grew up wanting to be tougher than what I was. And I fought. And I fought those guys every day. I didn't know it, but I was designing my future, and when I got old enough to go into the services because I did not know what to do with myself, I went into the services. That's a picture of me at 19 years old in Vietnam. I was a tank gunner. I was also a tunnel rat. I was also a sniper. I was a good shot. And I also believed that I was not going to come home, so I was okay with it. I accepted it. This was just the journey that I was on. So as I came home, I found out that most people had no respect for Vietnam veterans. They called us baby killers and widow makers, and they harassed us. And so that added more depression to my attitude. But I also couldn't figure out why I was even here. And so as I started growing, I found still that my passion was really just going with the flow. Going with the flow. Let's see if I can outsmart this machine. I've always believed that if you have trouble in your life, there are 3 things that you can do with it. Number 1, get your butt to church. Number 2, go to the gym and take some of that frustration out and take care of your body. And number 3 was go back to school. You will find your purpose by going to those 3 places. Go to church, go back to school, go to the gym. Okay? And when I came out of services, I did. I went back to school. I did not know what to do with myself. I was a very violent, aggressive, and I wanted to fight. I was not done. I almost went right back into the military because I want to fight. I love the competition, and my nose has been broke 4 times. 4th time was on purpose. They straightened it. Okay? But I got into martial arts, and I used to fight all the time. We were doing fights in the street, on the driveway, on the gravel, on the pavement. We didn't care. Just loved to fight. And finally one day I got in a lot of trouble, and the judge said, if I see you in here again, I'm going to put you in prison, buddy, and I'm going to take the fight out of you, and it scared me. What did I do? I went back to church, I went back to school, and I went back to the gym. And I kind of found my passion. It was my kids. I ended up settling down. Got married. I delivered all 3 of these kids. I cut their umbilical cord. I told the last one, the little guy to sleep. Cody, some of you met him in Vegas. Sorry. They were really fun kids. I'm really proud of them. But I ended up being a single parent. And I did that. I caused myself to become a single parent. And yeah, I joke with my kids and I tell them that you have custom nails, man. I put some work into each one of those nails. I gave them their first bath, and I didn't know that I was going to end up raising them by myself. But you know what? This is what my passion was. It was my family, it was playing handball, going to the gym, and it was about making a bunch of money. And I worked really hard at that. I was working 65 to 70, 80 hours a week. Doing just that. My life was on the gym. All of my kids grew up on the court. That's Cody. He's one of the top handball players in the United States right now. I can't score a point on him, but I can get in his head and make him make mistakes and take advantage of that. This is what I did for a living. I operated heavy equipment. I told somebody one day, I believe it was here a couple of years ago, I'm a heavy equipment operator. I manipulate fat people. And when we were here, I said, I've never seen so many fat people in my life. And Omar, you remember this because the crowd looked at me like, this is a crazy gringo. And I said, I mean fat people. Friendly, attainable, and trainable. Okay? And we really had fun. And Omar and Dr. Jose, I can't thank you guys enough. You have made a major play in what I have become. Thank you. This is what I did. I operated heavy equipment. And one day, I was loading this big rock screen, putting it up on a flatbed trailer to haul it out to a job site. And some of you may not know what a come-along is. It's a chain fastener. And I put this chain fastener on this big rock screen with this backhoe. And I put a chain on it, I snugged it down, I grabbed a 4-foot-long cheater pipe, which is a great big steel pipe, and I put it on the handle, and I snugged it down, and I grabbed a piece of wire and was going to wrap it around to keep the handle down. I reached up to touch the chain to see if it was snug, and the handle snapped, and it came around and it hit me on the inside. They estimated that it was about 2,000 pounds of steel going 200 miles an hour. It took my right leg and it spun me up, and it was slow motion. I went end over end over end, and it was about 38 good long steps back to the truck. I had just won the Tucson City Handball Championships 3 weeks before that, and in another 2 weeks I was going to the state championships. I could not believe what had just happened to me. I did it to myself. Nobody did it to me. I did that to myself. I broke my knee and I severed the nerves in my knee. And for the next 7 months, I lost everything. I came home from I called my house at the hospital, from the hospital, and to get a hold of my wife to have her come and get me. Nobody answered. So I called my buddy Bernie and I said, Bernie, come get me, I need a ride home. And he shows up at the hospital and he goes, why don't you just drive home? That's funny. I'm in a cast with crutches. I drive a Jeep. I can't shift the gears. Makes you wonder how I got to the hospital, doesn't it? It wasn't easy. Bernie drops me off at the house. I come into the house and I walk in the door and everything is gone. My furniture's gone. Everything in my life is gone. There's an envelope on the door. It was a Dear John letter. Sorry, I have taken the last 7 months' house payments and taken the kids, and we're gone. Thanks, it's been a pleasure. I collapsed on the floor. For the next 9 months, I didn't want to live anymore, and I knew that I had to protect what I had, and I've got to find a way to get back to work. And so, 9 months later, I conned the doctor into giving me a release to go back to work. I don't know how I was going to get up in there, but I had to. I had to get my kids back. I had to get everything back. Kind of like a country western song played backwards. So I conned the doctor into letting me go, and I drove down to the shop, and I told him that I'm going to be showing up Monday morning, and everybody congratulated me, and I had a cane. And I walked out and got in the car, and I drove off. I was so happy. And I stopped at a stop sign. It was a 4-way stop. This lady drove through the intersection and hit me at the door and broke my back in 5 places. For the next 7.5 years, I contemplated, and I had such an amazing strategy to figure out how to take me out of this world. I wanted to die. I tried everything I possibly could. A lot of you don't know a lot about me, and I'm going to flip you out. I used to sit with a pistol with 1 round in it and spin it. Click! I wanted out of here, and I figured that if I always had my gun cleaning stuff out here, it would look like it was an accident. And I couldn't pull that trigger one day, and I realized it was because I still had 3 kids. I still had 2 sisters. I still have a mom, and it would be such a selfish, self-centered, stupid thing to do to them. And I stayed there. I rode out the storm. What did I do? 3 things. Went back to church, went back to school, and I went back to the gym. Okay? One instant, my life had changed so bad I wanted out of here. But I started studying what I already knew, and it was life. We're all blessed to be here. When I look back at Vietnam, 2 Purple Hearts, 4 tank explosions, I have broken my back in 12 different places, and here I am at 64. And you know what? It's not always what happens to you in life that makes the difference. It's what you do about what happens to you. Okay? I can sit up here and be a crying baby when I look back at how things are. People have looked at me and wondered why my eyes have been puffy all week. It wasn't Senor Frogs. It was because I was thinking about how I could tell you something that we all have a chance to become anything we want. It's up to us. It's up to us. It's up to you. And every time I would look through my slides, I would get choked up. And I thought, maybe you guys really don't want to hear this. But most of you really don't know me. You don't really know where I came from at all. And I think that's what makes this opportunity and this journey that we're all on so unique, because we do become such a tight family. There will come a day, and when I meet people out there, this is my attitude, and this is what I do. Rudy said it so good yesterday, and everybody, Rudy Rivak is like my Jim Rome replacement. Okay, I feel my life through Rudy and through Mark, Mario. This is such an amazing place that we're all in. And when I meet people out there on the street, I look at them like this. And I know there will come a day. There will come a day that they decide. If you search, you will find. Okay? I started studying because of a mentor that I had. I went back to college at the University of Arizona, and I studied philosophy and nutrition and herbs. And no, I wasn't smoking them. I was studying them. Okay? I was trying to find a way to get well. I was still crippled. Okay? I was still crippled. And I went back to studying herbs and nutrition and how the body will actually heal itself if you give it what it's screaming for. A lot of it's just simply water. We don't drink enough. You cannot grow a healthy garden without water. It's real simple. But my mentor said, you've got to create a model of what you want to become. And I read this book, A Model for a Model. He said, you want to be a good handball player? Then I know you're limping, and you look funny, and you're not in really good shape. But you've got to start walking like a handball player. You've got to start talking like them. You've got to start carrying your gym bag like them. You've got to fake it till you make it. Where have we heard that? Okay? You've got to act like you want to become. You've got to create the model of what you want to become in your life. And I started studying, and I discovered Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn. And I went into the radio business, and I got to meet them. I got them on my radio show. And they are such unique people, and if you just do what they do, you get what they get. And I started studying them, and I started looking at this stuff, you know, the day that turns your life around. When was it? You know, because it's coming. If it hasn't showed up, trust me, it's coming. And I thought, you know, this is one thing that really got me. And when I was a little kid growing up, my grandmother said, that little kid is going to have a lot of friends when he grows up. I think he's going to be a senator. I didn't even know what a senator was. And my mother would say, no, he's not. He's going to become a doctor. He's going to heal people. You can tell. Just watch. Look how he cares about people. And I never really paid any attention to that. But I did love people. And everybody around me, even when I was in my 30s, 40s, and 50s, all my friends were overweight, out of shape, unhealthy, unhappy. They didn't like who they were working. They were sick and broke, as Cynthia says. Sick, fat, broke. And they were all asking me, how do you stay in such good shape? And I said, I always go to church. I always study, and I go to the gym. And my friends would say, well, show me what you're doing. And I'd say, just try this, tell me what you think. And that was how I started my business. But I studied this art of setting goals. When I became a master at setting goals, if you can't hit a target if you don't have one, right? What are you aiming at? You gotta have a target. This life is yours. You can become anything in life you want if you're willing to practice the disciplines. And so I just became a master at setting goals. These are my 3 kids. Mo, Larry, and Curly. I love them. They're so fun. They have such an awesome attitude. They snowboard. Those are my 2 that were in Vegas. That's Jessica, and Cody. And they are like this all the time. My son is he's like what you call an outfitter. He takes people hunting. He goes out and bugle calls and calls in elks and all sorts of wild animals on top of him. He just rocks. And Jess, when you meet these kids, if you met them in Vegas, you loved them. Right, Julie? I have a purpose, and it's not just my kids. I found a lady I was babysitting her kids. And little Haley has brittle bone disease. By the time she was a year old, she had broke probably 7 bones. She had broke this femur twice, this one 3 times, 3 fractures in her back. And I just fell in love with her. And I found that my mother would always bring people home and let them shower, clean up, feed them, and give her whatever money she had and take them out to the edge of town, and they would go to the truck stop and she would help them get a ride to the next town to go on their journey. So as a thankful thing for my mom, I started the Sweet Dreams Foundation, where I help struggling parents with their children, because I know what it's like. It's not easy. So that's part of the things that I do. And that little kid can play a mean harmonica. You should see her. She's so smart. They came by the house one day and they said, we can't make our rent. And I said, I don't ever carry cash on me, but I do have a tip jar. And they go, what? Every time that I walk in my door, if I have any cash in my pocket, it goes in a jug. And it's a standing rule. And there's been days that I have walked in the door and I went to change my clothes and I pull out and there's 4 20s and a 10 and some 1s. And I'm going, and it goes in the jar. And they came by the house and they needed some assistance with medication and rent. And I said, I don't carry any cash on me. How soon do you need it? We need it right now. And I said, well, I do have this tip jug. And I poured it out and I let them count it. And Haley goes, good Lord, we hit the mother load. It was just very, very smart. I love them. I think that's why I'm here, is to make a difference in someone else's life. When I first saw this, I started thinking about all the little kids I've taught to swim. My life goes in 3s. There's 3 things. Here's your lesson for today. There's 3 things you can always teach a child to make sure they come home. Number 1, teach them to swim so they don't ever drown. Number 2, teach them to look both ways twice before they cross the street. Number 3, teach them self-defense and philosophy. This is self-defense, folks. You can go beat up anybody you want. I don't care how big they are. They don't worry me. I don't have them. Well, I might. I have to be careful over here because I'm afraid they're pretty good sized boys. But I have found that you do those 3 things with your kids, teaching self-defense. I was telling somebody last night, I used to make my kids, when they would put their shoes on, this sounds bad, but it really isn't. I would make them put their shoes on 1 foot standing up. And I said, you have to have great balance in your life. And do not sit down to put on your shoes. Learn balance, it starts there. And I was thinking about how many kids I taught how to swim and how to stand in case you had to square off with somebody. But it's not about fighting, it's about getting out of a situation. And so I started teaching that self-defense tactics and awareness at the YMCA. But, you know, I started studying this, and this is what I teach people, is to live the best life you can. You're here once. It's short.
Yep.
It's short. But I started studying this, and it really became fun. And this company came into my life for a reason. And I'll tell you, I cannot thank Ziegler enough. I don't know how. I know one way is to always show up at every event and show support for them, because they support us. And all you back there, all corporate, God bless you, thank you. Zinger literally changes lives, and it happens in 8 days.
That's right.
I'm living proof.
That's right.
This was our first date. It still amazes me. We got to, for those of you that don't know Erin, she has really had an impact on me. She is something special. And we have plans on building a lodge where people will come and stay with us for 3 days, 5 days, however long it takes. And we will help you get your head on straight. We've both had very tough lives. And that's what our purpose is. Yeah, mine's herbology. Hers is Reiki and philosophy and energy. And if you've been near Erin, I call her Roo. Kangaroo? I call her Roo. These people here, Gary Johnson, thank you so much, man. You are one of my mentors. When we put the Singular Morning Show together, I'll try to go quick, I know I'm probably running out of time. I can't see anybody, so if you're giving me one of these, you'll have to yell. I'll try to get it this time. But we put the Singular Morning Show together before corporate ever had a corporate call. Before they ever had a sizzle line. We did that, and we did it so that people would have a safe place to come and find out really who we are, what we're doing, and how you are going to benefit by getting involved with us. And those are all rocking chairs, and the Singular Morning Show rocks. We've done it from all over the world now. That was our first cruise. We did the call. That was an extensive call. We did it in Dubai. Thank you, Diane Moncton. My munchkin, I love you. We have done this call from Jamaica, Cayman Islands. We try to never miss the call. And it's not about Gary and I and Erin and Cynthia. I love you, girl. I always come to these events so I can see what you dress like, because I know. We all love you so much. But you know, my life started here when I started putting pictures up and ideas and putting them on the wall and holding myself accountable and holding myself responsible. That's what it took for me. That first accident I had, it didn't teach me anything. I was too busy feeling sorry for myself. That second accident I had, I seemed to learn more from the second kick of a horse. I haven't quite figured that out. I'm a slow learner. I was in the top half of C students. I pushed those A students to the top. They didn't want my group. But this is what I do, and I want everybody, wherever you go, take pictures. Take pictures, take pictures, take pictures. Take a lot of pictures. So I made this vision board, right? I wanted a new home. I wanted a new truck. I wanted a new home with a swimming pool in it. I wanted to take the Sweet Dreams Foundation and take it big. And in order to do that, I needed money. And as Zig says, money isn't everything, but it does rate up there with oxygen. Because without it, you can't help these things happen. So I got my truck about a month ago. People said, how come you bought such a big truck? Because I can. It has air-conditioned butt seats. Can you believe that? I have the coolest rear end in Arizona. That's my home. I bought it right before the truck. For those of you, thank you. For those of you that have been to my home, we had SyncFet 2 years ago. I was leasing this home with an option to buy. I didn't know where I was going. I tried to think I knew. Vision board was helping me. I just stayed focused. Okay? That's at home. A couple years ago, we had Zing Vet. A lot of you were in this home. Okay? Wait till you come next time. See Cynthia? Sherry Holman's underneath this umbrella at the bottom. There's 2 bar stools right there. I put them in there just for Marty. Because I can. As you see, to the left side, you'll see there's a little shrub and those 2 windows. I'm knocking that out, putting in an Arcadia door, and that whole section is a gazebo where I can hang my hammocks.
Yeah.
And there's going to be palm trees all over. And it's a big stainless steel barbecue on this thing. You are all welcome to come to my home anytime you want. It's a 2,700 square foot home. The windows are clean because Diane cleans them. Diane Moncton came to my house, looked at my Arcadia windows. I had little kids' fingerprints all over them, right? And she goes, oh my God. She cleans them. She has killed at least 4 birds that have hit that window. But here's what I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to do something really different. And I'm not going to do this to offend anybody. I swear, I am not like that. Take some time and get to know me. I'm very grounded. But I learned these 2 things from my friend, Zig, and my friend, Jim. You can have anything in life you want if you're willing to work hard and help enough other people get what they want.
Yeah.
The other thing is, the promise of the future can have an awesome effect on your life if you design it well. These things right here, I just drill it in. I listen to it every day, every morning. And you've heard me say this, my truck doesn't start without my school coming at me. Before I get out of here, I have to do something that's very personal, it's to my heart. Would all the Puerto Rico people please stand up? Dr. Jose, beautiful, Omar, and your wife, please. This is something very important, and I hope that I don't offend anybody in this. You guys, I all owe you an apology. I discussed this with the Minnesota team last night, and I asked if I should do this. And they, them and the Panda girl kind of pushed me to do this. You guys had an awesome meeting. I'm so proud of you. But the Americans back there in the back of the room and all around us, I think we all owe you an applause and an apology, because while you guys were doing a kick-butt meeting, me too, was standing around talking and taking pictures of each other. And I wasn't doing that part, but I saw people taking pictures of each other in the back of the room, texting. Put your darn phones down and pay attention to what's going on around you. That was one of the best meetings I think I have ever been to. And I felt that it was disrespectful for some to be standing around, me too, talking rather than listening. Just because we don't speak Spanish, we can read eyes. And I am sorry that I did not pay more attention to what was going on there. Would everybody please stand up and give Puerto Rico a warm. I want to wish everybody a happy Halloween. I am Beetlejuice. Please don't say it 3 times in a row until I get out of here. But I want to thank each and every one of you, you guys and girls, and when I say guys, I mean guys and girls. You guys have all played such a major role in what I'm working on becoming. And I just want to thank all of you for all the lives that you've all changed. You guys, you understand we're on to something so big. I know a lot of firemen, I know a lot of policemen, I know a lot of handball players, I know a lot, don't we all? And now we have a little spring to our step. And I am so proud and honored to be part of this company, and thank you.